one thing that's really important that you make sure that you wear on deadlift day is shiny material pants, okay? So I always have the shiny type of tights, not the cotton tights. Same with not cotton joggers like Brandon's wearing. Like these ones. Because then that'll create drag, and that can also cause injury as well as create a problem with your deadlifting. And also lots of water. So a couple things I want to touch on, and that is equipment. So these are the best straps I've ever used. They're called WSF straps. They actually have rubber in the strap, and they have neoprene in the wrist. Now, for girls that have really, really small wrists, or for people that are lifting really heavy and it's actually cutting into their wrist, another thing that you can get, which I don't have any with me today, I call them tennis fuzzies, but they're tennis fuzzy wristbands, and you wear them underneath your straps, and that will help a lot. The other thing is a good belt. Now, a good belt is wide in the front. It's not really wide in the back and narrow in the front. It's not going to give you the support that you need on your stomach. Okay, so this belt I really like, or the powerlifting belt like Brandon's. I prefer the leather over the fabric myself. That's personal preference, the fabric. A lot of people don't want to take the time to break in a leather belt, where this one here is many years old. It's like butter. This one here has not been used as much. It's very stiff. So again, it's personal preference. Crane's Muscle World is a really good place to get belts. It's in Oklahoma, and anybody can email me if they can't find his website. Besides straps and belts, one of the most important thing is footwear. Okay, now I always use a flat bottom shoe, like a skate shoe, like this one here. You can see it's completely flat. This will give you a solid base of support. A lot of people like to use cross trainers for weight training, especially when it comes to heavy deadlifts, squats, and even bench. Or for me, it's all my lifts. I always use a good skate shoe. Besides that is gloves. Now, I never use gloves when I do bench, squat, or deadlift. Maybe a little bit old-fashioned in that sense, but I use gloves for everything else. Gloves is another issue that I'm very picky about. These ones here are really, really well padded. A lot of the girls like to get these little stylish ones, which are really quite useless. So when you're looking for a glove, you want something that's got a lot of padding in it, and so it's going to give you support. Other thing is, you want the glove to be snug. I prefer leather if I can find them. Leather does tend to stretch a little bit, so when you wear it, you want it to be super snug, because if the glove is too big and you go to grab it, you'll have too much fabric right here, and that'll cause calluses too. So all these things can help you in your training to lift heavier. The heavier you lift, the stronger you'll become, the more muscle you're going to build if you have the right nutritional support and you're getting enough rest. Okay, so we're here at XFuel Fitness, and we're going to be deadlifting today and also doing partial deadlifts for all my clients out there that need to see what correct form is, because deadlift form is very important, and if you get it wrong, you're going to get hurt, and you can get hurt for life. So the first thing I want to talk about is using straps. So when I have my straps in my gym bag, I always put them like this, because if you don't, you always tend to lose one. Now, when it comes to straps, you always want to put, I'm going to put it down here, you see it, and here better? The tail to the inside, okay? So meaning when you do your straps up, they need to be like this, where each of the tails is to the inside. When you put your hands through, you put them palm down through the strap, and you tighten the strap on your wrist. Okay? Just like this. Okay. Okay, so when you put the strap on the bar, you always want to grab the bar where you're going to hold it, okay? So always make sure that your hands are even. Like on this bar, you can see the knurling got a couple of lines. So you want your hands to be outside your hips because you don't want to be dragging your hands up your legs. So I'll always make sure that my hands are even. Like on this bar, I'm going to use the crease of my thumb on this first line like that, okay? Now, when you use this strap, you always want to wrap it flat around the bar, okay? So you're not overlapping the strap because when it gets heavy, that is going to cut into your hand if it's overlapped and it's going to hurt your hand. Okay, so when you're doing the other strap, it's a little bit of a learning curve, okay? So you want to, again, make sure that it's tight on your wrist because if it's not tight on your wrist, it's not going to be able to hold the bar tightly, okay? So what you want to do is you want to take the strap, flip it around the bar with your thumb, okay, like this. Okay, grab the straps with your fingers, turn it around, and keep turning it around. And then tighten on the bar. Okay, when you're unracking it from the rack, you always want to pull it back far against the rack. And then have your legs against the bar when you pull. Okay, you always want to warm up thoroughly, so warm up with the bar first. Walk out of the rack, stand to the side bend. Then stand sideways. Okay, keep the bar against your legs at all times. Keep your head up, your shoulders back, okay? So when it bend from the hips, slide it down the legs, keep the bar touching your legs just past your knees, and up. Okay, big breath in at the top, shoulders back, abs tight, slowly down, flat back, and up. Okay, so now my next jump for me would usually use a 45 pounds per side, okay? Depends on what you're going up to. If you're only going up to 135 pounds, then you warm up with, say, like a 25 pound per side. Is end collars, okay? Make sure that the plates are tight on either side and they're not going to slip and we create an imbalance and then hence getting hurt, okay? The other thing is that you want to make sure that you use the same kind of plates on either side, okay? Because if you got this one, the other one is a little bit wider, again, it's going to feel different on either side and again, it can hurt you. So the other thing is I always use a belt. Not only do I use a belt when I do deadlifts, I use a belt with all my training. And it's important that you get the belt tight because if the belt's not tight enough, it's not going to be doing anything. Big breath in at the top, shoulders back, abs tight, back flat, slide down the legs, barely touching the floor, and up. Big breath in, flat back, slowing down, and out going up. Big breath in at the top, abs tight, slowing down, touching the legs. So, one thing, you always want to lead through your chest. So if you think of a string being attached to your chest, keeping your shoulders back, keeping your back flat, bending from the hips, not bending from the back. Very important. Okay. So, we went over picking it up in the rack. Now we're going to go over picking it up on the floor. Now if you can take a look at this bar, I'm going to get rid of the top of it, Brandon. Get rid of the top of it. So a lot of times floors are not even. So this bar right now is really crooked. These are round plates, so you can spin them, you can bring them to your body or whatever. Now, some of the plates have square edges, so you can have to try to get it to settle on the floor the best that you can, but always want to get straight to the bar, not to, say, the wall or the room. Okay, so again, you want to wrap the straps flat. Okay, so now going over, picking it up off the floor. I'm going to go to the side. Okay, you always want to get the bar right against your shins. Get your butt down, shoulders back, head up. Drive up with the chest. Slowly down, support, up. And when you're done, bend your knees. Just add another plate on there. Partial, which is partial deadlift. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're setting the rack up. So whether it's a rack like this or the kind that has holes, so the height of the bar, so like for me, I have to use a block here. Okay, this is still a little tiny bit high, but I don't think there's anything else in this gym that I can use to bring this up a little bit higher. And this is not my usual gym for deadlift. So what you want to get where you're bending your knees, and your butt's down, that this bar is actually a couple of inches above your knees. So this one is a little bit high, but for the sake of this video, it's going to be able to show what I mean. The bar should actually be about here. That would be ideal. But it's always better to be too low than too high. Okay? So again, you want to strap up. And with this, doing partials, it's really important to make sure that you reset every single rep. So meaning where on the floor, where I was going touch and go in the rack, every single rep, when it hits the rack, you have to reset. Meaning the bar can bounce crooked like this, and if you pull it and it's a heavy weight, then you're gonna get hurt. In the rack, normally I do 45 pounds more than I do off the floor, just for the sake of being able to talk while I'm doing this. I'm going to keep it a little bit light for this set. Okay. So, you want to make sure that you pull the bar against your legs. Okay? You get your butt down, your arms are straight, your abs are tight, shoulders back, okay? And pull. So at the top, you bend from the hips, you bring it straight down the legs. Okay, then you bend your knees, pull it against your legs, you stand up. Bend from the hips straight down. Bend the knees, get underneath that, straight, pull. Straight. Bend your knees, pull against your legs, up. Bend from the hips. Okay, we're going to put another plate on. Okay, so I just want to recap on the form. Okay, so when you're doing your partials, you want to bend your knees, pull the bar against your legs, okay? So this is just finishing off the deadlift. Stand up. Then you bend from the hips, like this. But when you bend from the hips, the bar doesn't get away from your body. You like this, stand up, bend from the hips, straight down the legs. Reset, pull it against your legs, up. Okay. So I've got another 45 pounds on her side, so this is 315. Bend your knees, pull against your legs, stand up. Bend your knees, pull against your legs. Then these two exercises right here, deadlifts and partials. When you handle 90 pounds plus more per side, on the partial deadlift, when you're doing your regular deadlift and you get to this point, you're going to hit another gear, you're going to be that much stronger.